Hello guys and welcome to this next R&D tutorial. Before the tutorial will start, I will have a quick update. Free courses are now available on Gumroad. So motion design in Houdini, procedural design in Houdini, and abstract visuals. This is currently uploading. You can buy them, and in the video I will write a little code, and with this code you will get $10 off. So be sure to check out Gumroad. The link will be in the descriptions. The course will get released. You can pre-order them now, but they will get released on Monday. So you can download them, download the project files, and download the videos so you can take them with you. And that's this little update for the courses. So be sure to check out Gumroad and watch the video for the discount code. I think we should get started. In this series I want to talk a little about Vellum, because Vellum is pretty cool and pretty strong, and you can do a lot of things with it. For example, we will start with a simple Vellum hair simulation. Let's go back. First of all, we need to place down a geometry container in Houdini. Let's call it geo hair. For example, make it round and black. The shortcut for the colors is C. Dive inside. You can dive inside with double click your mouse or with I, and dive up with the U key. So we are now in the geometry container geo hair, and we will place down, first of all we will place down a grid, a simple little grid. Spacebar G to get the full frame view here, or center the viewport to the current selected object. Dial that down to 1 by 1 and 2 by rows and columns. Let's just copy here the channel 2. So now we got this thing. Nice, but we need some lines, and we will do that with the scatter sub. Place down the scatter sub, and let's get rid of the global seed here, for example 5, and dial down the points maybe to 25. Now the cool thing is, what we can do, we can use a little attribute workflow, for example, and this comes in pretty handy. Get here a little attribute wrangle. We will create an integer attribute called ID, and this ID attribute will get the current PT num, so add PT num. And the cool thing is, when we go to our geometry spreadsheet, so Windows, where is it? Oh wait, it's right here. Geometry spreadsheet, we will get the ID attribute for each point. I sometimes make here the +1, because sometimes you will run into errors with just the 0 on the ID, but with that you are pretty safe. We got now here 25 points, and I want to move the points. Transform it and move it. I will move them up for, let's say, 2 units here. And now I want to merge the both here together. Place on null node and organize it a little bit out moved. And we can make here another one for out maybe center PTS for center points, or bottom points, something like that. Call the attribute wrangle, let's call it set ID. I think that's pretty good. And then we can merge them both together. Select both of them and press the Alt key and drag it down out, and the cool thing is you will get the merge right here. So we now merge both of them, and the cool thing is we got the ID attribute. Let's go to the information button and select the ID, and here we got the ID. We can now place down an add node, go to polygons, go to by group, by attribute and ID. Ta-da! We've got this. The cool thing is it's all of course procedural because we work in Houdini. And what you can do, for example, you can copy the scatter node, cut that out here, connect that one, and connect that one, and I want an ID here too. And with a different seed you will get something like this. That's pretty cool too. Yeah, I will take this for now. And now we want to resample the curves, because now our lines got only 2 points, the first point and the last point, and when we will use the resample point it will get divided. That's pretty good, but now I want to use the curve view attribute to get a group. We will place down the group expression for that. Group expression. And I want this point or this point. And that's pretty easy. We will check here group type points. Let's call it group pin. So we can later use the pin group to pin the strings in the Vellum simulation. And the vex expression is at curve u. So the curve u is an attribute that will evaluate a value between 0 and 1 on the line. And I want that to be equals 1. And now we will get our pinpoints here. Let's call this group pin. That's pretty good. Now, of course, you can play with the seed. What you also can do, you can get different lengths. That's pretty easy if you just do. Oops. If you just do that, for example, and displace the whole thing, you will get different lengths. So this is a pretty basic way to change the length, but it works. Something like that. Cool. Now we can place down finally the Vellum hair. Vellum configure hair. Pipe that inside. And what's important now, we need to get the pinpoints. So place the pin group here. And now you can already see we will get these little markers here. So that indicates that the string or the hair is pinned at this point. After that, we need the Vellum solver, of course. So place down the Vellum solver. It will say over here is an error because duplicate point ID attributes detected. So we will need to delete them before the Vellum hair and the Vellum solver stuff. Press tab and just get an attribute delete. With the attribute delete, we can now choose our created ID attribute and just delete it. And now it will work. When we run the simulation here, we will get something like this. Looks also pretty cool, but I think we should get some forces in here to wrap the thing a little bit up. Dive inside the Vellum solver, and you will see here the force output. And here's a little description. So wire pop forces into force output, so this one here, to apply the point forces. For example, what you can do, you can get a pop wind and pipe that in here. The wind velocity, let's choose the x-axis 1 and the amplitude 0.5. So you will get a little bit of wind. Looks also really cool. What you can do now, just bump up to get more hairs here. And I think what's pretty cool about that we can change the height here a little bit more. Let's get this one higher. Here, something like that, and let's get this one also higher. And now we will get this. That's pretty nice. I like that. Of course, you can now play with the whole setting, but for now, let's go back some steps here. Yeah, that's better. Cool. If you want to render this out, of course we will do a little rendering in the end. What I want to do now, I want to get the curve U attribute. Place down an attribute WOP, because I want to render that out as geo and not as hairs, because we got 75 primitives, and I think that's pretty easy to handle. I want now to use the curve U attribute and a polywire sub to create a little bit thickness onto these lines. Place down an attribute WOP and a polywire. We will get, of course, something like that here. That's way too thick, but just for now, bump up the division size, something like that. Dive into the attribute WOP and place down a bind. With the bind node, you can import attributes from above into this little WOP level here. And we want, of course, the curve U, so type curve U. And you can check it. If it's there, just pipe it quickly out to the color here. It's there. We can also use it for shading. And I want to bind out an attribute called, let's call it polywire scale. And I want to place down a ramp here. Connect this. Set the ramp type to spline ramp float. And I think we are good to go. Let's multiply that whole thing here. So times the polywire scale, so add polywire scale. And you will see nothing because the ramp is not set up. And now when you play with the parameters here, that's looking pretty weird. You can get pretty cool examples. Something like that here. Looks like a squish, something like that. like an octopus. Let's scale that here a little bit down. Something like that. It's, yeah, that's alright. Cool. And the cool thing is we got the color, but I think now we should delete some attributes here. So I want to delete any attribute except of the CD. Place a null down. Place a null down here and just delete the vertex, primitive and detail, and recompute the normals. Place down a normal sub and call this out lines. Cool. Oh, now it works. What? Okay. Sorry guys. Yeah, we got this now. And the cool thing is now we can render this a little bit. Let's simulate that back here a little bit. I think that's alright for now. Place down a material, sub, and connect it. Name it matte fair, something like that. Dive up, and we will place down several nodes in object level now. The material network, the ROP network, then we will need a camera, of course, an RS light dome, color that one yellow, RS light dome 001. ROPNet is out for redshift, so RS out and RS matte for the materials. I like to color these red here and call this camera 90 millimeters close up 001. Go into the ROP network and place down redshift custom, RS out. I will enable just some optic RT and automatic sampling for now. I will need an HDRI map. Let's get the HDRIs here, ACES, and let's get this one here. I forgot something. The discount code, guys, is TimJ10, and you will get $10 discount. So I forgot that. I will leave it here. It's red. It's important. So now we will place down RS material builder here. RS matte, call it lines. Dive inside, and the material is already linked. Press Ctrl C to copy it and Ctrl V into the material. Whoops, that was wrong. What did I paste? Just grab it here. Grab it. Good. And we will check if the automatic attribute function is on. CD, cool. Let's dive inside. And get a color user data. We will use the CD for the diffuse color. And we can use a ramp to remap the values. And I think we should go into our render camera. And fire it up. Failed to get aces. Yeah. Now we can add some more stuff. First of all, delete this one here. Get into the redshift, enable depth of field. Just to be sure, copy the focus distance, paste relative reference. Of course, that's a little bit too much here. And just try to find a look that you like. Of course, that's RnD series. Just some RnD rendering here. I like that. I don't know why, but I like it. So, for example, what you can do, of course, place on a glass material. That's also cool to do. And you can pipe that into the transmittance channel and pipe the absorption scale up. White to red. Get the red down here. You can animate that, of course. I think that would look pretty cool. And why we don't get this pretty harsh, blend between the white and the red? I think that looks pretty. It looks like in a hospital when you get a blood extraction. It looks like something like that. So this don't meant to be a blood extraction tutorial, but I really like the look. For now, let's get an just here a quick bokeh image. Let's use the unit. Yeah, let's use the white color sum and pipe it a little bit more up to 5. I really like it. I don't know why, but I like it. Let's get another focal length here. Let's go for a wide angle look. I think that would be pretty cool too. Yeah, that looks pretty nice too. But I think a more compressed look will be better for something like that. Let's go with 90 millimeters, so usually a macro focal length, and when you photograph a subject that's pretty small in scale and you got a pretty wide opened aperture like 2.8, something like that, the depth of field will get pretty harsh. So something like that might be realistic, but let's turn it down to something like that. Yeah, I think that's that guys for this tutorial. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in a course or in the next tutorial. Take care, stay safe out there, create cool stuff, and I will see you. Bye guys.